Hello and welcome back to my Dandelion Diaries. Today I wanted to share a flip through of the progress in my garden planner. This is an N1 Sterling ink compact. It's like a standard size planner, and I took this out of the leather cover that I originally housed this in because I've just been kind of wanting to change up my cover situation and look at all of my fun stickers that I put on it. And yeah, I just wanted a little bit of a change. Probably will bring back the leather cover in a month or two maybe. Anyways, I haven't really been loving this planner, and I think I've talked about that in a few of the videos that I've made about it. I want to downsize back to the 𝗬𝗍 weeks, but for the month of September in this planner, I did okay, and I tried some new things. So for the year at a glance, I didn't make any changes here. I'm still just tracking precipitation, and boy, oh boy, did we have so much rain in September. We had rain upon rain upon rain. I do think the recent Hurricane Helene, or I think it's Helene, that hit Florida and the east coast of the U.S., helped us get some of that rain. We were not in path of impact or anything like that. I'm in Texas. We just got like the residual waves of rain that came from that, but it definitely watered all of our trees, watered all of the plants, which was really nice. Still have not colored in my garden and probably never will at this point. And then in the quarterly section, I'm still using this for my temperature tracking, and then I've also added in an egg counter. I still need to write down the eggs that I got from the last 2 days. I can do that really quickly. I think we had 8 yesterday and 6 the day before. So definitely crazy amounts of eggs. I haven't even tallied all of the ones that we got for September, but in August we had 265. So I have more eggs than I know what to do with right now, and I greatly appreciate everybody who gave me recommendations on egg recipes. I wrote all of them down, and you will see them here in a minute. But as for the quarterly pages, I am liking how colorful this is and how it's kind of changed from like really cool toned colors here in the beginning of the year, which was more of like the wintry temperatures, to warmer colors in the spring where it was more warm temperatures, to like really hot colors like the red and yellow for summer, because it definitely was a very hot summer. And then slowly we are making our way back down to the cooler colors, which I don't know, it's kind of fun to see it kind of progress over the months for me. For the monthly section in this planner, I decided to go ahead and make a bit more notes here than I did in previous months. I think I was just trying to utilize the space a bit more. So I was writing down, different things we got for the rain, if we were doing any kind of like things with the chickens, like setting up their coop or trying to get their water system finished, being automated. I wrote down the different trips that I took with my mother. I wrote down when I got new fig cuttings. Like, I just tried to make a few more notes here. And then I also wrote down when I guess we saw some cool things. So we got to see the barred owl that lives on our property really up close. Like, it was probably 10 feet from us. It was so awesome. We got to see it super, super up close, and it was beautiful. But we also had a chicken death and a crazy day, which I will talk about in a minute. But yeah, I just wanted to use the monthly section to kind of have snapshots of bigger things that were going on throughout the month. Anyways, moving on into the weeklies, this is probably where I made the biggest change, and this is also where I have struggled the most in this planner recently. So in the beginning of the year, I was using this for my task list, notes, egg counting, routines, having a master list, and this worked really great when I was in the more busier season of things, like getting everything ready for the spring garden, then doing the spring garden, and then summer came around and everything was just kind of like, I don't have to do anything. It's all growing. Like, I'm just doing repetitive tasks. Like, I don't need to write down anything new. And I just kind of fell off slowly and didn't really write anything down for like weeks. And then I kept trying and just kind of like gave up pretty much. So I figured, let me try something new in this planner and see if I can at least make use of the weekly pages in a way that is more functional for me. And I decided to do almost like a daily entry of my garden animal situations. So on the day of, I would write down a little brief synopsis of like what happened. And then on the right side of the page here, I'm hoping to go back in with the photos that I took. I'm out of photo paper right now. So I'm hoping to go back in, print out the photos, and stick the pictures on this side so I can have a visual to go along with like the words. I know it's kind of going to look funny because I don't have any pictures on here, but I'm hoping to have pictures once I get to the things all printed out. Anyways, first week of September, we ended up losing one of our ducks. So we have this like tunnel system that goes out from our large coop. So we have like a really large coop that holds all the birds. And then we have a tunnel, like a covered tunnel system that leads up into like a bigger yard that they can forage in. And something attacked like the tunnel, like ripped the tunnel out from the stakes we had it stuck in the ground with and took one of our ducks, like just gone. I mean, we didn't even hear the skirmish or whatever happened. But in that process, one of our other chickens also got stabbed with something. She's fine, but the duck is, you know, most likely deceased and gone. So that was kind of like, okay, what? And then the next day we just got like a butt ton of rain. So we couldn't even go search. We couldn't like go hunting for the predator or anything. Like it was just kind of like, alrighty, this is a great start to September. Yeah. After that, we ended up resealing the tunnel down with new stakes. We reinforced it and we had a bit of a break and nothing really happened for the rest of the week except for just rain and putting up cameras and getting everything kind of situated to see maybe we could figure out what took the duck so we would be better equipped to go after it and capture it, whatever. According to the camera footage, we only really saw the coyote that we have on the property, and we don't think it was a coyote that took it because it was pretty, like the tunnel was pretty mangled. So I don't know. Anyways, next week, I decided to try a different layout, thinking maybe I could bring back in my habits and routine, and I didn't do anything here. I just kept up with the little entries, and this worked a bit better. This week was very uneventful in terms of the duck situation. Like, we still had no visuals of the predator or anything. Like, nothing was showing up on the cameras anymore. It was just kind of like a boring week, if you will. But this was the week that we got to see the owl super up close, which was really, really cool. And this was also the week that we got poison ivy all over our arms and legs again. So I've talked about this before. The property that we live on has a lot of poison ivy, and whenever we go into like the deeper woods and stuff, we usually have to be covered really well and like be proactive about not getting the poison ivy leaves on our skin because we're both allergic to it. And we didn't do a good enough job, so we both ended up getting poison ivy I got it on my ankles, and then my boyfriend got it all over his arms, which is just annoying. But anyways, this week was uneventful. Then, third week was crazy. Again, I'm sorry, I don't have any of pictures, but I think having the little briefly synoptic day like this entry over here has been really helpful. But this week, I ended up getting some fig cuttings from my grandmother's house and planted those out into one of our garden rooms, which is a closed space, and then found out on this week that something was eating them, but I'll get to that in a second. But on Friday, we had this crazy attack. I don't know what to call it. I wrote a whole entry about it. So let me go to the back page here. Basically, in the middle of the day, at like 11 a.m., my boyfriend hears the chickens just going wild. Like, something is going down. So we all, like, the whole family, right? Like, me and my boyfriend, all the dogs, like, we all run outside trying to figure out what's going on. And something had climbed over our 8-foot privacy fence that's like 5 feet from our house into the little yard that we keep the chickens, took a chicken, climbed back over the fence, and fled. Just fled. I didn't get to see what it was. All of the other birds were fine. The dogs didn't really catch anything. It was just kind of like, what? And like the fact that whatever animal this is was big enough to pick up a fully grown chicken, scale an 8-foot fence both directions, and hustle away with it through, you know, wooded area is beyond me. Anyways, I wrote a whole document about it because we were just mortified that this happened in the middle of the day and so close to the house. Like, we have cats and stuff that like run around the house, and like if they're indoor, outdoor, and if I'm starting to think maybe that's what took like my previous cat, maybe, like, because they don't really stray super far from the house. So yeah, it was very traumatizing. And as a result of this kind of whole scenario, we went into like full hunting mode, like predators catching a predator mode. Yeah, anyways, this is the last feather of that chicken. Her name was Blue. She looked like the velociraptor from Jurassic Park, and she was like the alpha chicken too. So it kind of messed a little bit with the dynamic of the group, but yeah, it was kind of like a crazy day, like, pardon my French, but like, what the fuck kind of thing. And we just had to move on from it. But yeah, I wanted to make sure I documented everything that happened because it was just so wild that it happened in the middle of the day, like right next to the house. Anyways, then essentially after that whole fiasco, my boyfriend went to the, you know, store, and we got a bunch of like traps, we got a bunch of bait. He ended up getting a crossbow, I think it was. Yeah, it's wild. We ended up only catching a possum over the weekend. We didn't actually catch anything we think was big enough to take off with a chicken of her size, but it was just kind of a very wild situation. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. And then for the final week of September, again, we didn't really catch anything new in the traps, but we ended up spotting the coyote again on the camera footage, and that was it. We did end up getting more rain and some pretty wild thunderstorms that like were so loud they shook the house. And we ended up feeding scrambled eggs to our chickens for the first time, which I don't know if that's okay or not. They ate them. They did just fine, and there weren't any issues, but we ended up feeding them their own eggs. And then we also got them a pumpkin. So again, I wish I had a visual on the page, but maybe I can include a picture of the girls like carving the pumpkin. We saw this really funny Instagram reel that a woman was giving her chickens a pumpkin to carve. So we're like, oh, let's do that. Let's see what they do. And they actually did a really great job. I ended up breaking the pumpkin open before they could finish because I wanted them to be able to eat all the insides and stuff. But it was really, really fun to get to watch them carve a pumpkin from basically a whole pumpkin to almost nothing. But on top of that, at the end of this week in September, we also got a new mower. So because of my grandmother's passing, we were, you know, going through her items in her house and kind of divvying things out. And we ended up getting this mower that we're hoping is going to be decent, but we have to do a few repairs on it. So that's pretty much it for the month of September. It was a bit of a roller coaster, not gonna lie. For the next section of this planner, this is kind of like the weekly entries I was doing. So I'm thinking on the months that I don't really have much to do, I will prefer to do the more like this style where I write down the synopsis here and then forgo doing a weekly entry at the back, because this is basically just duplicate information from those weeks. But on the weeks that the weeks and months that I'm doing more prep work, like more planning, I can actually use these for what I want. I'm hoping I'm coming across making sense. I don't know. That's pretty much it for this planner. I do want to share that I did write down a bunch of the egg ideas y'all gave me, so I could have a reference to look back on of things to make with the different egg recipes, since I have so many eggs to go through. So I definitely wanted to show my appreciation for everybody who, you know, give me suggestions. And if you have more suggestions, they are always welcome. And maybe I will put some of these into my other journal, my health journal, so I can have the recipe ideas in there too. But yeah, crazy month of September. I think I'm finally finding a way to use this planner, at least for the rest of this year in 2024. I think I'm ready to move into my 2025 books already, and I know I talked about this in another flip through. I just really am looking forward to that start fresh, that new creativity, the newness, if you will. Anyways, I'm gonna leave the video off here. If you have any questions about this planner or my chickens or whatever, just leave them down in the comments. I'm always happy to chat. But I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you're having a great start to October, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.